are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks is taking no shorts, just like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Everybody, it is the New York Knicks podcast, episode 619. We took 3 months off, but we're back.
We're back. So the Knicks, we said we would do a show immediately right after the Knicks once the Knicks made a big move in the offseason, we were going to do a show, and that's why we took 3 months off.
Yeah.
Like the Knicks did.
Yeah, it was a slow summer, so we did.
Slow summer. I personally didn't spend a lot of time on Knicks Twitter or Twitter really at all, or X or whatever the hell we call it these days. It was nice to be away from the Knicks verse for a little while, but the Mets suck this year. My Jets season is kind of over already. I'm ready to go all in on being obsessed with the Knicks. How are you doing, Jay?
Doing pretty good. We do have a couple things to cover today. It's
Couple things.
Yeah, we're getting close. Training camp. We have media day today, and training camp.
We personally had media day. We were answering questions.
Mm-hmm. We basically we went to every place we were invited, which is why the show's starting on time. And next year, maybe somebody will ask us to.
Never, no one will ever ask us. We are very comfortable in being, Anyway,
Cult? Would you say a cult?
I didn't fill in the blank. I didn't say anything.
Cult following.
We're cult following.
Yeah.
We are very comfortable with that. We are comfortable just being. I would really do this show if it was just me and Jay. Like me and Jay would just talk about it anyway. So it's nice to record it for.
Well, that's how the show started. We have another show, a comedy show called The Brink of Sanity, and after the show, we would talk about the Knicks for a half hour, and we're like, why don't we just record this?
And we did a bunch of Brink episodes this summer, which the most of the feedback we got in the Brink show was do the Knicks show. So anyway, we're back.
Yes. So if you're watching on the YouTube channel, there is a new Knicks podcast only YouTube channel at NY Knicks Podcast on YouTube. So this is going to be the last week we stream on the old channel, so please subscribe to the new channel.
Why? Whatever. I don't know why you're doing that, but okay.
We
cool.
need a dedicated channel because there's a lot of demand for the Knicks podcast on YouTube.
Okay, cool. So this show we are planning on talking about the analysis of. I mean, this is Knicks, not NBA related, but the Dame trade that just broke. The Jrue Holiday trade also that broke. Mm-hmm. Should the Knicks have been involved in Jrue Holiday? Should the Knicks have been involved in Dame? Should the Knicks be involved in Malcolm Brogdon? Should the Knicks be involved in anything in this offseason? We'll also talk through some things that have been going on in the offseason. I guess Randle left CAA. What does that mean? Someone reported Mitch's trade value. Who cares? The Knicks offseason summary. Dante DiVincenzo is being part of the team. We had media day. We have a lot to cover. What do you want to start with, Jay?
Let's just get the trade out of the way.
Okay, let me ask you. So last summer, the entire offseason, the Knicks were like, well, Utah, we're the only team you could trade with. So we'll just wait. We'll just sit on our hands and wait for you to come to us and give us the best Donovan Mitchell trade we can get. Mm-hmm. And so Donovan Mitchell went to Cleveland. This summer, Miami said, you have no other options, Portland. I guess we'll just wait here until you're ready to take Tyler Hero. And now Dame is on the Milwaukee Bucks. So let me ask you before we even analyze the trade, what do you think of the strategy of going, hey, you have no one else to trade with? Is that a good strategy?
Bold move.
Bold move. 2 summers in a row, it was not the right move. There will always be another trade partner. So if you want someone, whether you're the Knicks or anyone else, you got to make a better trade. If the trade's not moving forward, someone else will move it forward for you.
Yeah. So I'm glad that Dame wasn't able to force his way. I think.
What do you think of the actual trade? How it the analysis of what actually happened? Well, not analysis, the actual story of what happened.
Oh, how Portland kind of just got mad and
Yeah, so essentially Dame asked for a trade. Well, he was asked, I guess Portland asked him to sit out the last 10 games of the season so they can get a better draft pick, which I think the NBA may or may not be looking into. Then Portland got a great draft pick, number 2 pick in the draft. They told Dame they would trade it. They did not trade it. They're like, we got Scoot. And Dame was like, what the hell? Trade me. And then Portland didn't want to trade with Miami. Dame came back and said, you know what? It's cool. I'll just stay here in Portland. And Portland said, go F yourself. You want to be traded? You're done. And we're going to move you. And they got moved to the Bucks.
That story is pretty amusing. Like, Dame, I guess, just thought he was going to do whatever he wanted, like trade me or maybe I'll change my mind. And I don't think you could do that with 4 years left on your contract.
Yeah, I do appreciate for once management saying, and not to ever root for management, but like you got 4 years left in your contract. You just signed a contract. You're supposed to play for us. If you want to bitch about it, we can do whatever we want also.
Yeah.
Though I guess the result is Dame playing for a title this year.
Well, I'm just glad that Miami lost Vincent and Strus, and the big plan was to replace them with Dame. And now they don't have Dame. They're significantly worse than last season. Until
they sign Bobby, who played junior college basketball and will play like Michael Jordan in the playoffs.
Right.
You know they'll find some random dude. There's like, wow, how did the Miami Heat find an undrafted free agent to lead the NBA in scoring?
Yeah. So right now they don't look as good. The Bucks, obviously, Dame is awesome. They gave up Jrue, which is pretty big.
But I mean, Dame is I guess they were stuck in a situation where they think the Greek Freak will be leaving in 2 years unless you can make him happy. So you got to make a bold move, right?
Yes.
I mean, one could argue the Bucks had the best record in the NBA last year, or maybe second, but best record in the East at least. The only reason they lost in the playoffs was because the Greek Freak got injured against Miami. If he doesn't get injured, they might go to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they should have run it back, or do you think the Dame move is the better move?
It's the thing is, it's on paper, it's the move to make because their starting lineup is, Dame is better than Jrue. They also lost Grayson Allen, so you're probably moving Connaughton into the starting lineup.
Not a huge move. Not a huge deal.
Not a huge deal, except now when you look at it, they have almost no reliable backup guards.
I mean, you could look at it and go like Milwaukee by the trade deadline will pick up someone. Someone will be released, or you can make some move to get someone else. Just like additional, you can always find guys for your bench. You can't find stars.
Yeah, I'm just saying like it's they're doing the same strategy as Boston, going all in on the starting lineup and a pretty weak bench.
Right, which is the teams have been doing that for years now, going all in on the starting lineup. Ever since the Dream Team in Miami, or not Dream Team, I don't know why I call it the Dream Team, the Big Three in Miami, like the teams have been going all in on building an awesome starting lineup, which is not a bad strategy because it seems to work.
Yeah. I mean, to win a championship, they're probably going to need to pick up somebody in the
right. But you could pick up at the deadline. You got to think like Milwaukee and Boston are now the two favorites in the East, but they might have been the two favorites before this also. Yeah,
I mean, they both got better, but they were both 1-2 anyway. I just think they got significantly worse on defense because Allen was a pretty good defender too.
Yeah, Jrue was also a very good defender. Does Dame's extra offense make up for his lack of defense?
Right.
Especially when you have two of the better bigs in the league on defense between Brook and the Greek Freak.
Yeah. We'll see. Because, if you don't have a good backcourt on defense, guys are coming at the front court more. They have to do more heavy lifting on defense. Could get in foul trouble. Could affect the game.
Yeah, I know. I made that point on X or Twitter, and someone immediately commented back and goes, "Oh, Jrue was really helpful in making Jimmy Butler like Michael Jordan."
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, also Butler's bigger, has some size on Jrue. But it was a decent enough point that maybe you just need some extra scoring. I know it was a worthwhile. We both agree it's a worthwhile gamble. Milwaukee made a good move. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, and you really won't know how good of a move it is until the playoffs. Because last year they had the best record in the East, so there's no like, if they have the best record in the East again, you don't know if it's really a better move to get to the playoffs.
Right.
I mean, basically, I would say Milwaukee and the Celtics are finals, maybe title or bust. Finals or bust at the very least.
Well, yeah, with a lineup like that and the age of the players, it's definitely finals or bust. So I don't want to spend too much time on other teams, but
and what do you think of the Celtics move?
Yeah, so Portland then flipped Jrue Holiday to the Celtics, and they traded Robert Williams. And
Time Lord. They will miss out on both games that Time Lord is healthy next season,
and
which is
Malcolm
unfortunate.
Malcolm Brogdon.
And Malcolm Brogdon, who didn't want to be there anymore, and who Drew is a huge upgrade over.
So they now have Porzingis and a 37-year-old Horford with basically no backups for either one. So they're
you could
also
find a
going
big
over.
man. I think you can find a big man. You don't think you can find a big man?
It's going to be a significant downgrade. It's not like there's really good big men just sitting there.
Yeah, but what was the situation going to be when you had Robert Williams on the bench injured? The dude gets injured a lot, so it's not a terrible move.
Well, I would say they were thin before that, and that they needed another big man, and now they need at least two big men. They don't have a backup for Porzingis either. Unless they just play Porzingis at the 5 and go super small, Tatum at the 4. I mean, that's probably what they're going to have to do.
I've never known KP to miss any games, so I'm sure they'll be fine. What do you think of the haul Portland got? So Portland, in trading Dame, got DeAndre Ayton, Robert Williams, Brogdon, and they could very well move Brogdon or Williams still. They got the Bucks 2029 unprotected first-round pick, 2 pick swaps in 28 and 30, Warriors 2024 first-round pick, and 2029 unprotected first-round pick from the Celtics.
And they might get more for Brogdon.
Yeah, they might get more for Brogdon. I think this haul, what people are calling it a haul, is a little overrated. I like Ayton. I think everything else, hopefully you could flip Brogdon for a first-round pick from someone. Williams, maybe you can. I think the first-round picks they got in the trades are mediocre first-round picks. They're all from good teams. A lot of them are from many years from now.
I don't know. I think it's too
decent
soon.
haul.
I think it's too soon to say that because you have a Bucks pick from 2028. Dame's going to be, 37? Middleton's probably going to be in a retirement home. Same with Brook Lopez.
To be fair, you're trying to win something and be good before 2028.
They have a lot of young guys.
My point really is it doesn't help the team anytime soon.
They have a war chest now.
I think people are overvaluing picks that are 5+ years from now because that's a long time from now. I mean, I guess you could flip it somewhere else. I don't know. But I don't know how.
I would rather a pick 5 years from now from a team that's good now than an immediate pick because there's a better chance of that being a good pick 5 years from now. You know it's going to suck the next 2 or 3.
Well, you know what I got to say? They got Ayton. Ayton alone is a very good young player for Dame. Mm-hmm. That alone's a pretty solid move. It's much better than a game like Tyler Hero.
Right.
If you're building a team, you got Ayton now, you got Scoot, you got something to build around. So the Knicks part of this. Mm-hmm. Should the Knicks have been on Dame? That's the first question. Would that have mattered?
How would you feel about paying a 37-year-old $60 million?
Do I personally? Because I don't know how many people I'd have to murder to get the $60 million. But if our owner Dolan is doing that, it wasn't the right move for the Knicks.
That's 40% of the cap.
It's a lot. It's also Dame next to Brunson. Teams are going to laugh with our defense.
Yeah,
they're already hunting Brunson. You can't give him someone else to hunt.
Exactly.
Jay is doing something with his cat. I don't know.
If I don't pick my cat up, she meows. So
I didn't want the Knicks to be in on Dame. I kind of wanted the Knicks to be on Jrue. Are you disappointed they weren't in on Jrue?
I mean,
he's 33, so he's older.
What are you giving up for Jrue?
So I think your windows in the NBA aren't that long. I don't think you can build the team for 8 straight years. you probably have 4 years most with any team to really build. Getting a 33-year-old guy who's going to be good for the next few years is not a bad move when he plays really great defense. What you're giving up is what everyone hates to hear. Personally, you couldn't trade I don't think you could trade you can't trade Dante DiVincenzo because you just signed him in the offseason. And you can't trade what?
Wouldn't want to either.
No, I don't want to either. I'm just saying you actually restricted from actually doing it. And you can't trade Josh Hart because you also just re-signed him in the offseason. So you're kind of limited in who you can actually trade to match salaries. I mean, you could obviously throw Fournier in there. Not that they want Fournier. No one wants Fournier.
You know, but maybe this is hot take. I feel bad for Fournier.
Let's hold off on that 1 second. You could have, not to go off on a different topic. You could have traded. I guess you could have matched salaries with Fournier, Hardestein, and someone else, and wowed them with better picks. Because I think getting picks from the Knicks and some like you could have given 2 Knicks picks and a protected, or a Knicks pick and 2 or 3 protected. You could have beat them in picks, and I feel like that might have been worth it because I don't know if Embiid's really coming or what move is really coming. I know Jrue would have made the team better, or you could have done what a lot of people don't want to do and trade RJ, and I think the team would actually be better with Jrue over RJ.
So Jrue has said in interviews that he was debating retiring after his current contract. So
That's not what he said. That's not what he said. He said he wanted to retire with the Bucks. He wanted to sign an extension and be done like in 5 years with the Bucks.
Okay. Well, that's...
So everyone was talking about him saying he's talking about retirement. He said, I want to sign an extension and retire as a Buck, was his actual quote.
So people are twisting the words.
Yes, that happens sometimes. That happens a lot. As far as Fournier, you feel bad for him. He's getting what, $27 million? Or no, what is it? How much
18.
money is he getting?
He
18.
He wasn't that good when he played, but I don't think he was 0 minutes bad. And I just feel like making him sit the last 2 years of his prime and not giving him any minutes and not trading him is kind of messed up.
I'm going to say the NBA is a business. Thibodeau was asked about this in media day, and his defense was, we won 37 and 22. We were +5 differential. The numbers speak for it. The Knicks played really well. It's not a charity. He's getting a ton of freaking money. The Knicks are keeping him around until a trade opens up, whether they use him as filler on a good trade or someone actually wants him. The Knicks are not going to give assets to move this guy. It makes 0 sense. You make your own bed. You sign a big contract. You don't play well. That's the and he also wasn't that bad. But
they attached assets to move players like 3 times last year.
Yeah, but they were trying to open up cap for reasons. It wasn't like there's no benefit to moving Evan Fournier. Like there's no. You're just doing you're just like, hey, we're a charity now. The Obi trade was one move of charity. That was a charity move. You don't need to do 2 charity moves.
I would have played Fournier in the playoffs.
I mean, not in the Cleveland series. Would you play him in the Cleveland series?
No, the Miami series, when everybody was shooting bad.
Yeah, it'd be reasonable then.
I would have thrown Fournier out there.
Okay, but it's also Tibbs probably was like, hey, IQ can't really be this bad. Josh Hart can't really be this bad. Knicks were hitting shots the previous series. Like at some point, Tibbs was hoping guys would start hitting shots again.
Yeah, but they didn't.
Fournier's he's not terrible. He just doesn't fit in Tibbs' system. You know what? If you want to blame anyone, don't blame Tibbs. Blame Leon Rose, because he got him. He wasn't like Tibbs went out and traded for this guy. Rose should have known. Rose should have known his coach. I've had
my share of criticisms of Rose. We don't need to get into that.
I'm just saying, do you really feel bad for a guy getting over $20 million to do nothing?
Kind of. I do.
Really?
A little bit.
Fournier, so do you think the Knicks should do him a solid and give up assets to move him? Give up a first-round pick because we need to do him a solid?
At this point, I don't know what they should do. I think they should have traded him.
Would you give up a first-round pick to move him?
No. First-round pick, absolutely not.
Would you give him a protected first-round pick?
Maybe. Those are kind of garbage. We have like
Well,
a top
they have
18
some value, though.
A little bit.
Why are you doing why? And also, next time you move him, and then a big trade comes up, and they're like, we can't match salaries because we moved Evan Fournier.
I've been hearing about this big trade for like 3 straight years. When is this trade happening?
True, but like, you know what Fournier could do? Fournier could also go to the Knicks and go, I don't want the money. Just cut me, and I won't take the money, and he could be done.
True, he could do that.
Yeah, so you don't want, if you feel really bad for it, if you're like, oh, woe is me, go to the Knicks and go, I don't want the money.
Yeah.
So you're getting paid. You signed. This is the deal you make, basically. So, like, please pay me $20+ million to ride the bench. Sounds awful. Woe is me. Mark, we're working on a trade to move you. No, please don't move me. I like this. Now I have great seats to watch all the games. This is so much fun. I get to go to the locker room.
In my current job, getting paid a lot of money to do nothing sounds like ideal, best case scenario.
What if you were like, Jay, they don't let me do, where you're like, they don't let me do anything. And all I want to do is accounting. I love accounting. God damn it. Trade me to another organization so I can do accounting.
Just itching to crunch those numbers.
You know what? Also, Fournier played in FIBA this summer, and he had one good game, and people were like, oh my God, I can't believe the Knicks don't play him. And then he sucked for Team France. He had one game, and it was pretty garbage. He was garbage for them the rest of the way.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever. And this is also a non-issue. So, speaking of some non-issues, some non-stories from this offseason, did you know Randle left CAA? Conspiracy theories are running wild, going, oh my God, he left CAA. He's going to leave. The Knicks are moving him. This definitely means the Knicks are moving him. What do you think that meant, Jay? Why did he leave?
Well, according to him, he switched to RJ's agency to be closer to RJ.
You know whose new agent is?
Mm-hmm.
His old agent. The guy who was his agent left CAA last year, and Randle moved a year later to follow him. Likely, when the guy left, there was a 1-year non-compete where he couldn't where Randle couldn't move. So Randle probably waited for that non-compete to run out, and then joined his agent because he was loyal to his agent, not CAA. Most guys are loyal to their agent, probably.
This is why you got to listen to us and not Twitter, because if you listen to Twitter, you'd think that he did that because he's had a falling out with CAA, and CAA is in charge of the Knicks, and he's getting traded soon.
He literally just wanted to have the same agent he already had. And also, yeah, RJ's there also. So I guess that RJ being at CAA means RJ, not at CAA means RJ's getting traded as well.
Mm-hmm.
It was really quite a story. Other stories that I thought were such non-issues were there was reports that Dame, before getting traded to the Bucks, said he didn't consider going to the Nets, but he did not consider going to the Knicks.
Ooh.
So Nets fans did a parade and said, oh my God, the stars still like us, but they don't like the Knicks. I mean,
well, I mean, if that's your bragging right that a player said he might go to your team and didn't, we'll let you have that one.
Yeah, Dame said he'd be interested. Oh, so he's on the Nets? Well, no, that didn't actually happen. But like, we could pretend it happened because he showed some interest in us.
He thought about it.
You want to go some questions, Jay?
Yeah, we got a lot.
Oh, by the way, one of the best stories, I don't know if you like the story, but I like the story. I didn't want Mark Jackson to be the Knicks coach, but there's rumor is he might be doing some of the Knicks games.
So Clyde's getting up there, and
yes,
so he's not into traveling as much. So it sounds like Mark Jackson's going to be doing some of the away games this season. I think he has the on-air personality of a wet sponge, or that Bobby... whatever, that girl who does the interviews with the rappers and just talks in monotone and has nothing interesting to say. I think that's Mark Jackson.
I would love... Wasn't there a rumor Jeff Van Gundy be doing games also?
Yeah, that would be awesome. But
yeah, that would be amazing. But I think Mark Jackson would still be... If you're not going to have Clyde there, Mark Jackson's a decent guy to have there.
I think it's a huge downgrade, but anything that keeps him away from coaching the Knicks, if that's what it takes, fine.
Okay. Paul writes, are you concerned how much Brunson has been an ISO player? Has it been completely because of our team makeup? And could Brunson be the leader of a faster, more flowing offense with the right personnel and coaching? So just to point out, the Knicks were the tied for third ranked offense in the NBA according to their offensive rating last year. And the reason they were so successful on that was they were awesome on on the offensive glass. They had a low turnover percentage, and they were actually really good at ISO, which is not fun to watch. But the Knicks were really good on ISO.
Conversely, they were last in the league in assists.
Yes, that is not good. And that we're talking about Brunson, their point guard. So what do you think about Brunson being such a heavy ISO guy?
I think I would much rather he's amazing in the paint, and I get why he does so much of that. I would like to see more ball movement. We were calling for that all last season. Maybe you get more consistency out of IQ and Grimes. You got Dante out there. You got Hart, who was only there for the last half of the season. Maybe with a bunch more shooters out there, we have less ISO.
Yeah, I think the ball moved more once Hart got there. I think it'll move more with Dante DiVincenzo there. And it moves more if guys just hit shots. Brunson doesn't have to do everything on his own when guys hit shots.
Yeah, when everyone's clanking, he's like, well, why am I even doing this? Why don't I just go into the paint and draw a foul? Like, why am I going to pass it to somebody who's shooting 30% from the three?
In fairness, though, Brunson is he's not the fastest player. He's quick in the paint. He's quick one-on-one, but he's not the fastest guy.
He's smart. He's not quick. He's smart.
But I kind of see how he can be a little more of a ISO, especially when you have Randle out there. Then it becomes a very ISO-heavy offense.
Yeah.
The Knicks need to figure out how to get away from that a little bit and get some more assists.
They do.
And get the offense flowing.
You can't have the offense be that predictable. It got them fairly far last season, but the goal isn't the second round. They gotta be a little more creative.
What's the goal this year, Jay? Like what's not what the goal? Obviously, the goal is to win the title. But what is a successful season?
Got to at least make second round. You have to do as good as the prior season.
Yeah, I think that'd be fair. Ideally, you make the conference finals. But getting at least the second round seems like.
I mean, getting to the conference finals means they're beating the Celtics or the Bucks.
Yes.
You never know. Both of those teams are an ankle roll away from being very beatable. But
actually, it doesn't because the Bucks could play the Celtics and then you play the one of them can eliminate the other one technically.
I don't think they're doing 1-4 though.
Yeah. Okay. Either way, getting to the second round at bare minimum, maybe getting to the conference finals would be like what our goal here is.
Yeah.
Okay, so is Jimmy Butler's emo hair a reaction to Oscar writes this? Is Jimmy Butler's emo hair a reaction to Lillard not going to the Heat? And what would he do if Randle was traded to Miami? You see his hair?
I did. I saw his hair. I don't know. It's amusing.
I think Butler's got a decent sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like he's a guy that I feel like you don't like him because he's on the other team, but if he's on your team, you'd be like, this guy's pretty funny.
Yeah, I think so. We have a chat question from Josh.
Sure.
The Knicks have made some good moves on the fringes the last 2 years. Do you think there's a small trade to upgrade the backup four out there?
Yeah. Do you think they can get Obi? What if you move just 2 mediocre second round picks? I don't know what that is. It's hard to say. I think Obi will have a decent season. I don't think we'll miss him, but I think he'll have a decent season. We could really use a backup four. I just don't know who it is. I know he's not on the roster right now.
I don't think they really need one.
I think you need some size. I think they would be helpful. I think right now you're looking at Josh Hart playing the four or Isaiah Hartenstein playing the four. Either one's not a perfect scenario. I mean, with Hart's playing the four, you're going a pretty small lineup.
Well, you got Hart, or you could go really big with Sims.
Sims should not get regular playing time. He's just not that good.
Look,
unless he shows a dramatic upgrade in the season.
Year 3 Sims? Come on. Year 3 Sims.
What? 3 Sims? What do you mean?
Year 3. He's making the leap.
Year 3 okay. Leap. Year 3.
We got year 3 Sims. We got year 5 RJ. There's a lot of leaps to be had this season.
Well, you know what? If anyone's going to make a leap, it's the guy that can jump over the backboard.
Yeah.
But I think realistically, you'll have to go a line. I mean, you have a lot of guards. I think we're going to go to a lot of small lineups with guys that can guard multiple positions.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's people are saying like they need a 4. I think they're okay. I
think you could also play
options.
you could play RJ at the 4.
RJ, Ihart, Sims. I think they're okay. Like how many you want like a 9-man rotation ideally anyway. Like
Did we learn that last year, Jay?
I think we learned that last year. Yeah. You definitely don't want to go more than 10.
It was a really interesting season because you had like the Knicks were 10-13. They had that horrible loss to Dallas, which I was at, unfortunately.
Yep.
And then they went on a big winning streak. They looked really good. Then kind of started floundering a little bit. And then they made one move at the trade deadline. You're like, they gave up a first-round pick for Josh Hart. I don't know. And then suddenly the Knicks were like on fire with Josh Hart. And they looked goddamn awesome.
Mm-hmm.
They crushed Cleveland. Had a tough series with Miami. Miami was better than we all thought. I don't know. This team, the good thing about this team is that like it's going to be last year, Brunson had to learn how to play with everyone. Everyone had to like kind of learn to play with each other. I think the nice thing is with the continuity, the team will be kind of off the races right away.
Yeah, they have a lot of players that have played a lot of years together. So that's more important in basketball than people think. It's really, really hard to cobble together a team that instantly gels.
Yeah, I mean, the other teams are building very strong, like Celtics, Bucks, really strong, like 3 or 4 guys together. The Knicks are building 9 guys together who have a lot of experience together. The only new guy is Dante DiVincenzo, who's a guy that really plays well with others. The Knicks can, hopefully Grimes will take a step up. Hopefully IQ will continue his getting better. Tibbs today, by the way, he made a comment that people forget how young RJ is. And he's still getting better also.
Do people
Which
forget that?
Jay decided to argue with someone about this on Twitter today for no good goddamn reason. Don't be negative about the Knicks before the season even starts.
Not
RJ
negative.
can get better. The question is if you're going to get incrementally better or take a leap from here. Hard to say. You got to be positive.
I
Jay.
had no idea RJ was still young. People should bring that up once in a while.
Frank writes, should Grimes remain in the starting lineup or should DiVincenzo take his spot? I think a second unit of Grimes, IQ, Hart, and iHeart might lack a bit offensively, but defensively, they could be a lockdown group.
I want to see some looks before I say who should be with who. I think Tibbs said pretty much the same in his interview. He's going to mix and match and see what gels. I think that's the good part about this team, that they have a lot of guys who are, depth, guys that could be good as a starter or like a really good bench player. I don't remember what site it was, but they were ranking all the benches in the NBA, and they had the Knicks first.
Oh, that site was the site I'm an unhealthy Knick fan.com.
I mean, really, if you look at it, the really good benches are like, somehow the Lakers came out of nowhere with a really good bench. The Knicks, and there's not that many other teams that have like a really deep bench.
No, that's true. It's also nice now that you have so many guys. Like if say IQ is just not hitting his shots tonight, well, maybe Dante DiVincenzo will hit his shots. If Grimes is not hitting, maybe Josh Hart will hit from threes. It'll be interesting to really this team will still have to gel in some ways and figure out who is going to be playing over who else. Are you going to be upset like if Grimes plays less minutes this season because Dante DiVincenzo is playing well, or IQ plays less because Josh Hart's playing well? Is it going to be upsetting if guys lose minutes to other guys?
No. What I care about is winning games. I want the best guys on the court. I don't want them to burn out by playing 40 minutes a game, but if you're going to play a guy more because he's out playing another player, awesome. Do that. In
DiVincenzo and his interview today in like the media day, they asked him about why did he come to the Knicks. He said it wasn't because Brunson is here, though I imagine he's lying about that part. I imagine that's actually and Hart. He said it's not because of Brunson and Hart, though I think he's lying about that. I think that obviously that was a big factor. Mm-hmm. But he also said, I want to be on a team that's committed to winning. Mm-hmm. Teams like the Knicks. He also said, I don't care if I play 20 minutes or 40 minutes a night. I signed here to be here long term, and let's just see how it goes. Mm-hmm. Which I thought was the right approach.
Yeah, the Knicks have a lot of players that say the right stuff in interviews. Other than Randle, everybody else seems to say the right things during interviews.
I saw someone posted made a point that the Knicks are going to be like they have such little locker room drama to start the year. Like it's almost like you have to make up your own stories. Like you have to like oh, this Fournier thing's a really big story because really you have a team that's very comfortable playing together, very comfortable sharing minutes, guys that like each other. There's really no good media story besides these guys want to win.
We had 2 or 3 seasons where we would keep track of the days between embarrassing events. And sometimes we wouldn't even get to do consecutive shows without the Knicks embarrassing themselves. Like, it was a real... People forget how bad it was. Like, we did multiple
before
seasons
Tibbs
like
got here and before Rose got here, things were pretty darn bad.
Even when they were good, the JR years, he was always doing something embarrassing.
This team looks very uninteresting in a good way in terms of like off the drama. Justin writes, give the ball to Brunson and let him run the offense. Randle needs to crash boards with Robinson more. Barrett and Grimes need to hit more clutch shots and will be a top 5 seed in the East. End of story.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got Milwaukee and Boston as the clear top. I think the next tier is the Knicks and Cleveland competing. Harden said if he doesn't get traded, he's going to make life hell. So he's already tanking Philly, which is probably my favorite story of the summer so far.
The Philly stuff is funny as hell. It's like the opposite of the Knicks right now in terms of drama. But they make some good points here. Brunson should be running the ball. The ball goes to Brunson. He moves it. Randle needs to have the ball less in his hands. When he gets the ball, he needs to make decisions fast and needs to crash the boards. Do what he does well. And Grimes and Barrett, those guys hit shots. Like this team looks so much better.
I don't think there's any reason the Knicks should not be in the top 5 again.
I would like to ask RJ Barrett to watch his diet during the season. I don't need him getting food poisoning for an entire month and a half and not hitting shots. Mm-hmm. Like if you can just hit shots consistently the whole season, that'd be really nice. Jan writes, what do you think of this team's composition? I love Josh Hart as a player, but do you like the idea of running a 6'4" guy who's good at rebounding as a backup 4? To me, the team lacks wing players and size, tremendous depth at the 1 and the 2. 3-4 is 1 player deep and 5 is good. Interested if you think this could be an issue this year.
I don't. I think Hart's versatile, could play multiple positions. I think if you stagger the starters in the bench, I don't see a problem. I think Hart could play the 4 or 5.
I think you need a guy that can play the 3-4, like guy who's like 6'7", 6'8". They need a little more size. They need another guy. So I don't think Hart is I don't think playing Hart the 4 is a great solution.
But then you got to trade somebody.
Well, I think we see how things go, and maybe at the deadline, maybe you make a move for like another big. Or I don't know. Let's see how this works out. It's wait and see right now. I do want to. I'm interested to see how this small ball stuff works.
Rob says he really wants to get Bridges on this team somehow.
I would love to get Bridges on this team. I assume we're talking about the wife beater, not the guy on the Nets.
Yeah, and he's got chemistry with the other guys on the team.
They all played at Villanova together.
Yeah, that would be ideal.
That would be awesome. There is no way unless he goes to the Nets and demands to be traded. There's just no way it's happening.
Yeah, they wouldn't trade him to the Knicks anyway.
Yeah, they wouldn't trade him. And even if he said like I'm only going there, they'd be like, okay, cool, we're trading you elsewhere. Like it's just they're not going to do it.
Well, I mean, if his contract expires and he wants to sign that way.
Did they re-sign him? A big deal, or does he have signed a big deal or not? I feel like he has a couple more years left.
I think he has a few more years. Yeah, it's going to be tough. Gonna have to play
but that would be so awesome to have Bridges on this team. Maybe in 2027 or whenever the hell this. What do you think about Donovan Mitchell's becoming a free agent soon?
I don't want to hear about any of this stuff.
His contract runs out
3 more years. Yeah.
Yeah, the summer of 2026. So that's forever from now. So it's a good to dream, but that's a long, long time from now. But I would love Bridges on this team. I think he'd be such a great fit.
Yeah.
Okay. Anthony writes, with the Bucks and Celtics getting way better, at least on paper, than all the other teams in the East, how do you guys think the Knicks will do this season? Do we expect another successful or winning season or a step back?
I still think they're top 4. I really do.
Yeah. I also think the Bucks and the Celtics, one of those two teams will not work out as well as everyone's expecting because of injuries, age. Horford gets injured, KP gets injured. The Bucks, they can lose Lopez, Middleton. Guys get injured. Maybe guys don't gel as well as we expect. Like, there's going to be one of those two teams is not going to work out as well as people expect. That's my prediction.
I mean, it's fair. They got a lot of new pieces and little depth. They both went for high risk, high reward.
Los Dude on Instagram writes, what's your take on the rumors of Joel Embiid and Jimmy Butler reunion with the Knicks? How would the Knicks pull this off without diminishing the overall roster? I had not heard about Jimmy Butler coming to the Knicks. Is that a rumor?
I guess they would absolutely have to pretty much gut the team for that.
Okay, Joel Embiid though. Forget the Butler part of it. If Embiid says I want to be traded, do you make a huge trade for Embiid? No. Why not, Jay? Because that seems like the big swing. Like everyone, that seems like the one. Like if you're talking about big swings, like what else would there be? Like that seems like the guy.
His playoff numbers versus his regular season numbers are eye-opening.
Guys get better though. Guys get better. I mean, like Jordan took a while before he made it all the way to the finals. Like guys get. I mean, obviously he's not Jordan, but like guys get better over time. Guys have played better in the playoffs.
He's 29. He'll be 30 halfway through the season. His playoff numbers are like the last two seasons. His playoff numbers have gone down about 10 points a game.
Not great.
That's
still better than Julius Randle.
I mean,
who's the big trade? Who's the big trade we're making? Or we're going to keep trying to get incrementally better?
That's my question. I don't know who the big trade is.
I mean, maybe Donovan Mitchell will be a free agent. Is it this offseason or is it next offseason? I think he has 2 more years there.
It's that quick, huh?
He never signed an extension.
Oh, okay.
So there's no he just didn't. I don't know if he wants to be in Cleveland. He has, or not dying to be there.
He has this year, next year, and he has a player option for the year after.
So likely he will be a free agent the summer of 2025, and the Knicks could work on a sign and trade.
Yeah,
it's possible. I mean, he'd be a good addition. I don't know. Also, Dylan Verado writes, do we have a lineup that can still compete after the recent deals the Celtics and the Bucks have pulled off?
Yes. Obviously the Knicks starting lineup isn't as strong, but their bench is strong, and that creates a relentless attack that I don't think the other teams can sustain for 48 minutes.
I think the Knicks, other guys have to leave the floor. If Randle, forget the regular season. The Knicks should be good in the regular season. If Randle can play like he does in the regular season in the playoffs, this team looks a lot better. Mm-hmm. If RJ can if everyone can get a little bit better, the team looks a lot, and it's reasonable young guys can keep getting better, the team looks a lot more dangerous.
If you just have them shooting league average from 3 and Randle doesn't get injured before the playoffs, the Knicks are a really dangerous team.
I mean, everyone's talking about like Jrue Holiday. Like I don't want a Jrue Holiday, but like, oh my God, he's such a good defender. You know who was rated one of the best defensive players in the NBA last year? And who had the hardest matchups of anyone in the NBA for a guard? Grimes. Grimes was a hell of a defender last year.
IQ also had elite defensive numbers.
Yeah. They got them guys that can play defense. So Knicks are interesting.
Not last year, but the year before, RJ was putting up really good defensive numbers.
RJ is an enigma. Like 1 year he shoots 40% from 3. 1 year he's a good defensive player. The next year he can't shoot threes. He can't play defense. He's scoring more points. Like sometimes he's really good, sometimes he's not. He's got to be more consistent.
We need a Frankenstein of like different years of different stats. We want like year 2 3-point shooting and year 3 defense and year 4 driving to the rim. Like combine all that. Maybe also the Knicks having so much depth means guys don't like. I'm sure Randle would raise his hand and go, "Well, we don't have a backup power forward. I guess I play 48 minutes." But in reality,
maybe all this depth means everyone can play 32, 33, 34 minutes, play less minutes, and we can get more out of guys because they don't have to play as many minutes.
You know, everyone complains about Tibbs and his minutes. Randle played the most with 34 minutes a game last season.
Yeah, but there was one night when he played 40 minutes. So, like, screw it. That one night, that's the whole season.
Yeah, it's just like Tibbs has been good with the minutes. Like, there was a stretch where he was playing guys too many minutes when they had a bunch of injuries. But other than that,
yeah, people complain about the minutes. But once they got Josh Hart, the minutes looked a lot better because he had more good players.
yeah.
It's just like, I'm not going to play guys who I don't think are good just for the sake of minutes. And you know what's nice this year? He doesn't have to figure out whether he's going to play Evan Fournier. He doesn't have to figure out whether he's going to play Cam Reddish. He knows which guys he's going to play from the start. He's not going to pretend. I don't know why the Knicks signed Ryan RC, whatever his name is, who was on Villanova. I don't know why they signed him. He's not going to really play. A lot of so 1 through 10 makes sense. 11 through 15, I'm not sure why they're on the roster. Or 12 through 15, I'm not sure why they're on the roster.
So my correction, 35.5 minutes a game last season.
It's still pretty good numbers. Chris writes on Twitter or X, what have you guys been doing all summer? Catch us up on Marc and Jay. Jay, what have you been up to, Jay, besides getting COVID?
Well, that was a big portion of my summer, was getting COVID. I didn't do much else. Relaxed, still worked. Really uneventful, not very.
What an amazing catch up, Jay. That was really interesting.
How many vacations did you go on? 2 or 3?
I went to Maine for vacation. I also went to Delaware to the beach, and I went to and I went for a weekend to the what you call it in Massachusetts, the
Cape Cod?
Not Cape Cod, the Berkshires.
Okay, I did go to Cape Cod for a weekend.
Okay, you did something. Okay, stop bitching about nothing vacations. But anyway, I had a very nice summer. We forgot about the Knicks. We enjoyed other parts of life. I took up pickleball. Pickleball's really fun.
This is the first time in 13 years we've taken the summer off from the podcast.
I think we should do that from now on. Take the summer off. Do Brink. Do other things. It's healthier. I have to say, looking at all the content, people were obsessing about the Knicks on like August 7th, and you're like, nothing's going on. Stop arguing about who should play what position, or like, just take the summer off. There's too many arguments in the offseason.
Somebody did a Trevor Keels podcast, and I'm like, okay.
I guess Trevor Keels is. By the way, I always love the training camp. Like, I'm in the best shape of my life. Trevor Keels, he's now 8 foot tall. Like, they have all these things about guys growing extra inches, guys in the best shape of their lives, guys, I've never worked out this much. I've never felt this good. Do you know RJ grew an extra arm?
I know everybody like developed a 3-point shot that we'll never see in an actual game.
Oh my God. I hate so much the workout videos. Like, here's Ben Simmons playing basketball on a workout video because he doesn't do that during the regular season.
Yeah, he'll like drive against like a trainer who's 5'7", and they're like, look how he dominated in practice. I'm like, okay.
Ben Simmons released a bunch of workout videos so you could see him playing basketball because you can't do that during the regular season. Base Nick fan writes, are we first round exits now? I don't think this team improved like the other teams in the East. My answer is, outside of playing Milwaukee and the Celtics, we shouldn't lose to anyone else in the first round.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else really. I would argue that Philly and Miami got worse.
Yes.
And,
did Cleveland get better?
No, Cleveland, I think, stayed the same. They lost Osborne.
They still have the same centers that are going to be destroyed by Mitchell Robinson and Ihart.
Right. And are you worried about like any of the guys below?
No, I don't think there's any reason to worry. I think the Knicks are going to be, in theory, and I've said this before in previous seasons and been wrong, but in theory, we should be in for a very fun Knicks regular season where they win a lot of games and then get worried. And then we should start getting worried in the playoffs.
Right.
Because that's when the Knicks are going to go to the playoffs. No question. They're going to have a top 4, top 5 record. They're going to be good. We'll see what happens, but they should be they should make it past the first round.
I still think second round is very realistic.
Very realistic. I think this team is going to do a lot of damage. I think people are not realizing how good the Knicks team is going to be. I know they didn't make any giant swings, but I don't know if all these giant swings matter. I mean, Phoenix made a bunch of swings. They got Bradley Beal, which I do not think is going to work out as well as everyone expects in Phoenix. They also lost their big man. I think a lot of teams make a lot of moves and they don't always work out. The Knicks, I think continuity, a team that gels well together is very, very important. Nigel writes, Randle back up for the coming season now that Obi has gone. Potential trade targets.
I honestly don't think they're going to make a trade. I think this is the team. I think this is it.
I think they're going to make a trade at the deadline. I think there's going to be a trade to improve the team at the deadline. I don't know what it is, but I think that will happen.
Are you talking about a peripheral move, or is this the big move where they pull the trigger?
No, peripheral.
Okay.
I think they'll do a small move where you're like, well, okay, I guess. And the Knicks will reel off like 10 straight victories after.
Okay.
Rose's 2 of his 3 seasons here, he's made a smaller, not amazing move at the trade deadline that's worked out great.
Yeah.
Can't really argue with that. Like getting Derrick Rose was huge that year. Didn't make it, and then getting Josh Hart was huge. He knows he's doing a good job with those kind of things.
True.
I think we're almost out of time. Jalen Brunson, is he going to be an all-star this year?
It's going to be really hard.
The answer is yes, Jay.
I think he might be like first snub because it's going to be really hard with, you got Dame and you got Jaylen Brown. I just,
I think
if Harden shows up, you're competing with him. He might be the third. He might be the third guard on the All-Star team. If not, I think he's like top of the list of snubs.
I think his numbers are going to be so good that it's going to be something where like they're going to vote for someone and be like, well, we got to put that guy on. And you're like, Brunson's better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like last year in the playoffs, who was better, Donovan Mitchell or Jalen Brunson?
Look, we have an all-star caliber point guard, and he's in New York. The fans should just vote him in, and then there's nothing they can do.
Yeah, he should get an insane amount of votes. There are so many goddamn Knicks fans out there. It should be our priority to make sure Jalen Brunson is starting on the All-Star team because we've given them that many votes.
I'll call it a fail for Knicks fans if they don't get him to the top of the voting.
I mean, and also, I have to say, people are like, well, Brunson ISOs too much and like doesn't pass enough. This is the best point guard situation we've had in so many goddamn years. We should all just be thrilled that we have this guy who is going to play like an all-star for many years to come on the Knicks.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been so much better than I expected.
He was, and I feel like year 2 of him playing full time, in theory, he'll be even better. Yep. I feel like he's not going to be. He knows what he needs to do. There's so many guys that know what they need to do. Like Ihart said, it took like half the season for him to figure out his role in the team.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna be a lot of interesting things that are going to happen this year.
Yeah.
Who is going to take the biggest leap of the? By the way, Jay got pissed the other day when someone made the comment that Knicks don't play the young players still.
I think it's ridiculous. They have one of the youngest teams in the NBA. Like when people say the Knicks don't play the young guys, they just mean this one guy at the bench that I like that isn't playing, because it's asinine to say they don't play the young guys.
The only young guys that aren't playing are now on other teams. Cam's not playing, I guess, who's a young guy, and Obi. They're on, like, literally everyone else is playing.
And they're all young. I mean, RJ Grimes and Mitch were all starting from, like, very early in their career and still play. IQ's young. Like, it's insane to me to suggest that.
People also just say asinine stuff. I remember one thing, it was like, they were like, Obi's got to play over Ihart. You got to play the young guy. And you were like, the same age.
Right.
I know. I mean, whatever. I mean, you may prefer Obi over him. You can't say the young guy when they're literally the same goddamn age.
I have this insane theory that they should just play the guys that are better.
Yeah, that would be a solid move. Which of the young players? I'm going to think which of this group. Okay. IQ, Grimes, and DiVincenzo. Because I don't know if I should throw him in with them, or which of these 3 guys are going to make the biggest leap this year. And I don't know if I should throw Dante in there or not, but I guess whatever.
I think Grimes.
Do you think Grimes? I feel like Grimes is going to be. He has All-Star, not this season, but he's going to. I feel like he has All-Star in his future.
Really?
I think he's going to be maybe borderline. I think he has a lot of potential that's going to do. I mean, he's only going to year 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think this guy's actually going to be really, really good. Like, by I think year 6 of Grimes, you're going to be like, wow, this guy's awesome.
I mean, that would be amazing.
I mean, we kind of need someone that's like to make that jump also.
Yeah.
But I think his 3-point shooting is going to become more consistent. His defense is already really good. His playmaking is going to get better. Dude's going to be awesome.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, to have a really good 3-and-D guy that the Knicks drafted would be just so much fun to root for.
It'd be so much fun to have a really good point guard. Check. It'd be so much fun to have a really good 3-and-D guy. Gonna happen. Check. It'd be so much fun to have a really good center who plays defense. Mitch. Check. It'd be so much fun to have a deep team. Check. It'd be so much fun to have continuity. Check. It'd be so much fun to be a Knicks fan.
And win a championship so we can retire.
Holy shit, it would be nice to win it. I'd like them to win. I'd like not to die before the Knicks win a goddamn title.
Seriously. All right. I want to thank everybody for joining. We're nyknickspodcast@gmail.com. If you want to email us, nyknickspodcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And our tag on YouTube is at nyknickspodcast.
You know, Jay, what happens next Monday?
Next Monday is preseason.
First preseason game.
Wow, coming up quick.
Okay.
Also, our fantasy draft episode will be October 14th. I think a spot opened up, so email me, nyknickspodcast, if you want in.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we will be back next week. We're going back to weekly, folks. Goodbye.
Yes!
Goodbye, everybody. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye.